so there's code on screen. Pause if you want to look at it at any length, because it is primarily just the event that happens at the very beginning. And I say primarily because I was thinking about linking it to another event, but I decided not to do that. There is more I could have added to the event. For now, I'm just giving myself the third katana for, well, that gets upgraded again. And yeah, off we go. So, as I accidentally do not take away the code, yeah, let's find out if I've even done certain things correctly. I'm looking over at OBS right now, and I got a little scared. But, as I get into this run and I find out... Let's get into Azal Fatalist Toshiaki, and then we hit 5, and just to show you immediately, the Timeworn Katana Geki has 75 speed instead of 76, and for some reason, if I go crazy, then I go crazy. Ah! In video, there is an insect, but... That's pretty funny. But yeah, let's see. Something I wanted to... I didn't test this out. It literally would take me like 10 minutes tops to test, but I'm trying to look at the formatting of the text, and I was trying... Never mind, I'm not going to say that. Yeah, I was trying to figure out line spacing, basically. But anyway, Takushi-san, knowledge, dexterity, second encounter, strength, and light. Because I was, yeah, I was playing with it before I started this series, and I found that I wanted to try and basically space out the lines. And I think I did somehow, but I forgot how I did so, aside from just putting in hashtags. But again, if you don't know the custom code, Ito code for World of War, don't worry about it. All I'm trying to fix or change or tweak is the formatting, depending on what mechanics I might want to introduce to future custom characters, if I do future custom characters. Also, rip library notes, but hey. End of the mystery. We'll hold on to it. It's always good to... so basic World of War advice for the day. Might be redundant. I swear I've said it at least once before, but yeah, just hold on to spells for as long as possible. No reason to toss them away. One of the only exceptions is that if you are at your max spell limit, because I don't think it's possible... Wait, I think Asato gives 2 spells, but you have control over that. So what I mean is, unless you have, unless you're topped off on spells like 4 out of 4 or 5 out of 5 in the case of extra spell slots or something like that, you don't need to forget spells or use them immediately if they're consumable. Because you'll never know when you need them. Also, Fatalist, I forgot. So, base mystery, custom mystery, we go left to right. That's my little house rule. You don't have to play like I do, but it's just what I decided to do. So, as we get into Festival immediately, thank goodness we have a weapon. Again, this is why I didn't want to tweak the katana too much, even though I am upgrading it over the course of the runs. Yeah, because you might just enter a Fatalist Festival or Fatalist Ward, and then just sitting around being like, well, I don't have a weapon, I guess I'm going to try and kick the Dream Eater and just take 3 all in the face, or 2 all, I forgot the exact number, but you get the point. Pain. So, in my opinion, a lot of the time, it happens that... I'm not using words correctly. It just so happens that I feel like you get hurt a lot more objectively, but I might be wrong about that. Who knows, right? Actually, it's easy to know. You can do math or play the game yourself. Either way works, but hey, we don't have strength, so we just take the reason hit here. Toshiaki, your second more, not niche, but detailed advice for the day is Toshiaki can afford to take more guaranteed outs, I feel at least. But I feel that's more objective truth because of his essential negative 50% Doom. For those who don't know why, might as well go through it while I'm autopiloting, if for no one else than to retain knowledge for myself, is that I say negative 50% Doom effective because after 5 mysteries, Doom lowers by 10% with Toshiaki's passive Necronomicon page. Every mystery, so assuming you get to the end of the run, your Doom is going to decrease by 50% overall. Now that being said, I do want to fight here. Oh, the other side of not being in a town mystery first means I don't get the thingamajiggy. Is that a purple pixel, by the way? Purple pixels? Are those purple pixels? Oh my goodness, I can't speak. What we also have to do... I'm just going to go for broke. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a strong attack. Am I going crazy here? I think this gets me more katana experience. And then I do prep attack and gamble. So 87% chance. We want to hit this. It would be nice, but 1 stamina is not the worst thing to lose, although our stamina is quite low. But, yeah, focus on World of War. That's, to kind of go off topic, kind of on a tangent. You'll notice, or if you haven't already noticed, if you haven't been with this channel for more than a video, I often like to just talk about what's happening in-game. I feel that's most relevant, not because I feel most creators, streamers, content creators, so on and so forth should focus on what they're doing, but because I personally find it more engaging for me. And if you find something else that's engaging or fun for you while you are doing whatever you do in life, then do it, because I do think your self-satisfaction and or happiness with. I just had to make sure I was doing it. Also, that's right, we're on thingamajiggy, but each ally, we don't have any allies. I do have to watch out for my experience. Okay, hold on, I had to focus for a moment. But yeah, I do think you should basically be satisfied with what you're doing. There's only so much you cannot be satisfied with in your life before your mental health takes a toll. Basically, I don't consider myself to have ever been in a very, very dark place. Obviously, younger days, a lot of people had their teenage years. I'm obviously over the age of 20-25, but I was trying to figure out if I wanted more funds or if I wanted to just use the police station now. Downtown. Hold on, let me focus for a moment. High forest, max village, max downtown. I don't know my mysteries though, so I'm just gonna pick downtown. Your third piece of advice is, I've mentioned this a lot. I know I've mentioned this a lot, but if your downtown is your max threat level location, just put police patrols in there. And close second, if not tied for first, is school. After that, maybe forest, but forest is conditional, like hospital, like mansion to some extent. So, and even to go into more detail, if I can speak. Oh my goodness, my words! I speak so fast. Yeah, the other side of that is if you have festival, or not festival. If you have footage and or botanist in your run, and especially if you have both, and forest is your max threat level location, put the police patrols in the forest. You'll save yourself like 14% doom. That's a bit of a highball mark, but you get the point. Anywho, we prep attack, prep strong with the power of the bookstrap. Perfect bookstrap, by the way. With the katana, can do prep attack, prep strong. I swear I didn't balance for that. I didn't just do Toshiaki test specifically to make sure that worked that way. It just happened to. By the way, we have library notes, so I think this is what pushed it. But that's a very, very niche situation, especially in a vacuum of runs where I can read random characters. But even if you did a lot of Toshiaki runs, you're not always going to be guaranteed the library notes to do this with this Timeworn Katana. And because no one else in the world in real life has this Timeworn Katana in their game of World of Horror, then, I mean, there's no way you can experience it. You can make it yourself, but hey. And I guess we can go into custom content talk. Like, I really autopilot as Toshiaki, by the way. But we don't want to fight. So, take the reason. Negative 4% doom. I just realized we're gonna take 9 doom in the face minimum. But we're Toshiaki, so hey. Yeah, so oh no, 9 doom. Wow, my doom's at 5%. Toshiaki's so good. Again, and I'm not saying this as a negative criticism, certainly, but also not as a positive criticism. I'm trying to speak more observationally, but really Toshiaki's pages, and especially if we're not on it. Okay, we are on a character-specific run. When half of the perks are pretty much negative, so this is trying to also address the fact that no matter what difficulty you're on, I don't think it's... What's the phrase? The phrase isn't what I want it to mean, but I'm going to say it. It's not fair for people who don't know World of Horror to basically use a Toshiaki page and not, be able to determine that number-wise they're usually on the negative. To Devil's Advocate, if you want to talk about how the perks are, his pages are actually balanced. I mean, we can't see the other ones at the moment, but Cure is one of the better ones. Just off the bat, if you don't believe me, then I promise you it's one of the better ones. But item rule, by the way. But yeah, just to kind of step back and look at the forest, not each tree. Just making sure I can one-shot this guy. Is that, yeah, half the pages are pretty much not used as much as I at least feel they should be. So this is a subjective opinion. But I think that's a fairer assessment, because when you level up, you expect to get something that is at least usable. But again, I can argue against that and say, even if perks are situational, it just so happens. So I was going to use the example of Second Sight, but a lot of bosses are eldritch enemies. But you get the point. Anatomy class where you extra damage against humans. Maybe you'll never run into a human in that run. However, if you were to ask my opinion on that, I feel a lot of Toshiaki's pages are not used as much as, say, anatomy class. So I feel like I'm losing the point here because I'm also trying to focus on going through this correctly. Also, we have a lot of... I was about to escape and not rest here, by the way. That would not have been good, so let's actually do our rest. But yeah, just to at least address what I wanted to say. A lot of Toshiaki, or half of Toshiaki's pages are not worth the use, and therefore, when you get 50%, I think it's still, or it's supposed to be 40%. I feel like it was nerfed. I heard that it was nerfed to 8%, but I can't remember. I think it's still 10%. Even if it was nerfed, it could be nerfed to 5% per mystery. That is a huge amount, but that would still do a lot. And the reason I say this is because I'm considering. I need to toss my items into the storage, by the way. I'm considering basic rests, and that's one of my kind of not thresholds, but that's kind of one of the ways I measure, I guess, a lot of numbers and balance in World of Horror. Again, I don't know the phrase at the moment because I'm also trying not to die here. So what I mean by that is base rests are 3 Doom per 2 Stamina, 2 Reason. So even if Toshiaki lowered Doom by 5% Doom per mystery, and you would have 25% Doom overall, that would be about 8 rests, so that would be 24 Stamina, 24 Reasons worth. Just leaving that out there. Anywho, let's trade off some Stamina. We'll Desperate Struggle next turn. That is the wrong... I always pick that one on accident, but anywho. Could take a gamble here, but actually, I want to do a strong. Yeah, I want to do a strong. Because if we hit this normal, we get more experience next turn when we do a prep strong with the Katana. Actually, okay, never mind. Well, either way, we have a bonus damage, right? We do. So, yeah, we actually will just want to shoot a strong here. And off we go. So you notice also that I have not done a thing yet. What? Oh, experience rule. Do I have an ally? What happened here? Why did I take that much more? Oh, item plus experience, yeah, because the Necronomicon you can't store or anything, so... But, I promise you, you're like, well, doesn't that make Toshiaki a little bit harder for him? It's a little bit. Like, I promise you, even with 5% Doom decrease per mystery, because the Necronomicon exists on Azal item roll, I promise you, if at least this is opinion, again, subjective opinion, if I value the 1% Doom decrease from the Cult backstory, I promise you that 3% Doom is just as great. Now, we don't have any funds, so out of funds might slap me in the face. But that being said, 5% Doom on our 4th mystery. This is... Yeah, so let's go over. So Fatat Flash is probably one of the only other spells, or sorry, pages that is used, because at the end of the run, if you have the Doom, you're just going to rest at the Lighthouse. Until something happens to the Lighthouse where rests are either hit or just nullified by like a town effect. Fatat Flash, even then, that would specifically only target Toshiaki and actually make all of the other characters, or hurt all the other characters. I was going to say burst, but the point is that it hurts every character, and yes, it hurts Toshiaki a bit more, but he has more advantages anyway. Again, this is I'm trying to be objective with my balance of Toshiaki here, but at the same time, yes, I've also been saying subjective opinions because I just have to point out that they are opinions. Also, really quick tangent here is that, yeah, if I miss something like some good strategy or some minor negative or major negative, then yes, alright, I do think about those, but I can't think about it right now. Anyway, Shove Surge. One of them being, yes, Toshiaki has low stats, but how many times are you zero statting, really? And you would have to be really, really unlucky, so... Anyway, Shove Surge, 1 to all stats, it's temporary, but if it were permanent, that actually might be a bit much. And it's situational use, by the way, so I might as well explain. I'm not always going to dunk on pages that are very situational, aka not usable, quote-unquote worthless to some players, but at the end of the run, if you run into the Lighthouse and you have Doom to spare, and you're missing Stamina Reasons, essentially you're trading off Doom to save on Stamina and Reason, which is probably more than Cure, I guess, but hey. But because we have Fatat Flash, yeah, at the end of the run, you just toss all your experience away, take your Doom, and you lower your Doom so you can rest and heal Stamina and Reason, basically. So you're doing a switcheroo of numbers. Shrug. Now that being said, to kind of think more on design or game dev brain, I do think World of Horror has more than enough. How to say it? There's a specific phrase for it, but my dev brain is not working as we're also just roll. Never mind. I don't know why I thought so hard when I was just gonna do that anyway. Anywho, the lights don't actually hurt me, but oh, you know what? 4 Stamina in the face, by the way. Yeah, I think we do brace. We take 8 stamina damage in the face. Do I want to do that? I think I have to do that. I think I can brace next turn. But I'm going to take a gamble here, because we have bonus damage. I was about to say, I thought I missed for a moment. Okay, now we brace. That way we don't get smacked twice for 8 stamina. Really hope I hit this, though. If I don't hit this, bad things are going to happen to me. Okay, good. And off we go. Yeah, we're just going to do our prep attack. Again, the game is not telling you the exact damage. You just have to remember that there's 1 bonus damage. On top of whatever I'm doing, because the game doesn't include bonus damage here. That's not, that's not a harsh criticism or, yeah, that's not harsh criticism. That's just to note, because otherwise, like, you're not calculating correctly if you're just looking at the chat. Anyway, bar, we did succeed, so off we go. I don't know the effects there. There are too many custom mysteries for me to remember, even though I remember a few things here and there. Now, that being said, do we have fetid fumes? Even if we do have to rest anyway, I'm just curious. Okay, well, I could have saved myself some time and just rested anyway, because regardless, if I did have fetid fumes, I would have been able to note that we weren't healing as much stamina in a reason. By the way, to note, if you have fetid fumes, you have to rest twice as much, so you have to heal the same amount. So you rest 4 times to heal 8 stamina and 8 reason for 12 doom. Had to do math for a moment. But with fetid fumes, you have to rest and use up 24% doom, or doom increases by 24% to heal the same amount, 8 stamina, 8 reason, as an example. Again, all of this information, everything I've said within the past, what does OBS say? 15 minutes are things that most veterans, if not every veteran knows. Also, what happened to my face here? I mean, we're Toshiaki, I promise you. Oh, funds. Funds on top of the experience, but we're Toshiaki, so... Not being Toshiaki here, we might have been in a lot of trouble. Yeah, yes. Actually, no, because the experience rule, I think, is probably the worst thing, RNG-wise at least, to get as your first rule, because there's not much you can do about it. Yes, there's a police station, but if you don't level up, you might as well be playing on a commoner run anyway, which isn't always bad, and it's not always going to happen. I mean, it's certainly still, like, having an experience roll to start is still better than commoner. Also, we're in recluse now, but what was I going to say? You're not always going to get like a bunch of experience. In fact, you're probably going to get like 5. Well, if it's your first rule, you'll probably get like 5-6% doom. But after that, if you level up, you happen to level up correctly and manage your experience in ways that are magical. I'm not using the right phrase there, but I promise I'm trying to survive here as well. Then yeah, you don't have to worry. In fact, you'll probably, if it's your first rule, you'll probably take about 15%-ish doom. That is a lot, but it's not commoner bad, because commoner bad means you don't have any perks, you don't have any accuracy. You're probably taking more damage in encounters than the average case of experience rule first. Although that's not true. You have to, yeah, I just lied there. So if you get the experience rule first a lot of the time, then you'll feel the pain. You'd rather be playing on commoner, I feel, subjective opinion. But if you're not, if the opposite is true, or the average case is true, then you don't have to worry, basically. But if it is your first rule, you do have to be aware, so... now, as our last mystery, yeah, this roommate is doing so much damage to our face, so... Do I even get to do anything? Well, at least we have cure for this, but... Boy, this hurts so much. So, yeah, I think we just cure a bunch here. So every time we eat reason damage, basically, we're gonna cast cure. Now we're gonna overheal on stamina at a certain point, but it's well worth it. Also, we're getting bonus damage, so I think we're out next turn anyway. Okay, thank goodness for the Timeworn Katana. Otherwise I'd be at like what, 3-4 reason with cure. So hey, oh, we have 4 funds, by the way. Doesn't matter with Toshiaki. So like any other character, I would be at like 93% doom right now. So. And that's like a ballpark estimate. That's probably near the minimum that I expect. Again, that came from, if you want my math homework behind that, 50% doom. As I said at the very beginning. Takusan, knowledge, dexterity, I don't care. We're Toshiaki, so blah, and off we go. But as in context of this series, however, do note that, just making sure, do note that I'm not always going to get a Toshiaki run like this, so I could just get, like, Jury all perks on ill-fated Katak. So, and then just run into the dull nurse and double nurses during ward. That is totally possible, even with the, I think it's even with the hospital pass, because you do 4 hospital investigations, which are more than enough. Like, I don't really, I just guessed there, 25%, which is more than enough time to basically run into 2 hospital encounters. Anyway, I yapped on. If you don't want to hear me yap anymore, and you're just here to skip, and you skip to the end somehow, then yeah, not much else to say. If you have anything you want to say, you know what to do. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!